The world is in love with one thing at the moment, and it's this little guy right here. Gamers are loving it. Critics just adore the thing. And myself, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put my foot down and say, this is my favorite console ever. I mean, I grew up with the NES, but my memories are from the SNES, which was a beast of a console. The 64? Well, that was 4 times as good. Some of you are going to get that. The GameCube? That had some great games. And personally, the GameCube was my baby. That was my console. The Wii? Well, that was just... I mean, the Wii had Wii Sports. I'm joking. It had a lot of good games. And the Wii U is just a delight. You know what? Haters are going to hate, but I loved my time with the Wii U. The Switch, however... The Switch is something just that's next level to me. The speed of the console, the games that are coming to this console every week, and good games, not just like a large library, good games are coming every week. The portability, the design, everything just seems to be going right for this console. In fact, you know what? Nintendo can't seem to take a step wrong. Even when they stuff up things like Nintendo's Online or the Virtual Console, they just can't seem to go wrong with the console hardware itself. Or can they? So quick disclaimer, this is us, like you and me, having a chat about the Switch, which we love. We all love our Switches. But we think it would be a little bit better if maybe the analog stick didn't drift slightly to the left sometimes. Or maybe our right Joy-Con didn't just detach without clicking in properly. I'm going to jump through some of the faults that I'm having with my own Switch and some others that people have shared with me. And then I encourage you guys, if you would like to, go to the comments, have your own little safe whinge, as I like to call it, down there that I'm having right now about the Switch and the hardware and maybe the problems that you're having. Which, this is really strange to me for a Nintendo console, because Nintendo consoles have never had a problem with me. Like, I've never ever had a Nintendo console fail in any way. They've always been perfect. The Nintendo 64 you could throw against a wall, it would survive. The Game Boy could survive a bomb. Like, their consoles are built to last. But the Switch seems to be having more problems than other Nintendo consoles for some reason. Maybe it's the fact that we have online now and everyone's online so we can hear these problems. Or maybe it's just the fact that because it's a portable console and there's a lot going on here that it's more delicate than it's ever been before. We're going to jump through some of the faults anyway. You guys have your opinion, I have my opinion, and let's talk. So the first one I have here was actually one of the first known faults, and it goes alongside the other first known fault, which was the Joy-Con not working at a certain distance away from the Switch. It had low connectivity issues. But the one that I'm talking about is the Joy-Con actually coming loose. Now, I've actually got on my Switch here, and as you can see, this Joy-Con here, all it takes is a quick that and it pops up. I don't have to push the button in at all. It's just loose in there. Now, a lot of people have had this issue as well. It's just some of them are built not too strong. However, this one here, this is my fault. I'm really careful with my stuff. In fact, when I saw a video about someone who had dropped their Switch and this had happened to them, I was sitting there going, you're obviously not as careful as you think you are with your Switch. Having a good laugh myself. And then karma came along and I had the Switch on my lap. All it did was fall off of my lap onto carpet, but right landed on that Joy-Con, and that was enough to dislodge it. And that dislodging has actually loosened that Joy-Con now so that I can just slide it on and off just whenever I want like that. It's a little bit annoying being one of those people who's super careful with your console and that happens, but you know what, it happens. It's not the end of the world. This is probably one of my least problematic problems just because it does still click in. It's just easier to kind of dislodge and you just got to be a little bit more careful with it. Now the next fault I have here is actually drifting. So this is when you boot up Mario Kart and you hold down the L and R triggers as you go around the court. I hate my terrible dad jokes as much as you guys do. What drifting actually is the Joy-Con when it's in resting position will still drift slightly one way or the other, whether it be up, down, left or right. It doesn't realize that you've let go of the stick and it thinks that it's still holding slightly in one direction. And I never knew I had this problem actually until just recently. Some friends of mine were talking about how they have this problem and I thought, oh well, that sucks, that's a really bad problem to have. And then I was scrolling the eShop the other day and all of a sudden I scrolled to the bottom and it just started scrolling back up by itself and I'm like, hey, what are you doing there, buddy? It hasn't been a huge issue for me because that's only happening intermittently, it's not happening all the time. But a lot of people, this is just a constant issue. However, there is actually a fix that is working for most people. So if you do have this problem of your analog sticks drifting, make sure to jump online and just Google a YouTube video or something like that of how to fix this, because what it basically is the rubber that actually goes over your analog stick is unaligned with where it has to go. It's a very fiddly task, so make sure you pay attention to these videos because getting it back on can be quite fiddly as well. But if you can get it back on in the right position, a lot of people are saying this is stopping their drifting. So the last problem I'm having here, which is a very personal problem actually, because I haven't heard anyone else talking about this problem, is, and by this stage I must sound like a complete ruffian with my Switch, but I'm not. I'm normally really careful with my consoles. But the dock, the stand, whatever it's called here on the back, is really loose. It doesn't click into where it's supposed to anymore. At any stage I can just kind of do that and it just kind of falls out. In fact, sometimes I'll just pick up the console and it'll just fall out, which makes a real problem when I'm trying to dock it, and if that accidentally flicks out, it's just going to flick out, come out the back and snap off. So I've got to be really careful actually that it hasn't just come out on its own. As I said, this isn't a widespread issue, but it just kind of happened to me one day where I was just pulling that up and then it just stopped clicking back in. Not the end of the world, but it's a little bit annoying. I do wonder, however, you can buy replaceable whole back plates for your Switch. I'm wondering if they actually come with a new kickstand or whether they just use the same one that you had, because if they come with a new one, that would fix my problem. Moving on to the problems that are not mine and that have been shared with me or that everyone knows about at this stage. And the first one is probably the most widespread issue, and that's the dock is scratching the screen. Now, I think that most people are having this issue. I actually don't have it. My dock doesn't scratch my screen. I don't know why, but most people that I talk to seem to have some sort of dock scratching screen issues going on. The screen protector is the most obvious fix for this one, and obviously, if you're getting a portable console with a touchscreen, you should probably or definitely be getting a screen protector anyway. Realistically, look at it here. But if you don't and you plan on docking your Switch, be prepared to get some scratches on that screen, because this is kind of happening to most people. I don't know if new docks have actually fixed this problem, but I still hear about it all the time, so I'm guessing they haven't. Now the next one here is one that I call banana switching, and yeah, it kind of sounds like a Mario Party game, but banana switching is basically your Switch will bend like a banana. I don't know why this happens. A lot of people are thinking it's got something to do with heat, because it hasn't actually happened to our Switch yet, but people are thinking that when the Switch heats up in the dock, or if you're in a hot area, that eventually the whole Switch itself warps over time. Which might actually be true, but this is also happening to new Switches that are fresh out the box, so who knows what the deal with this one is. It could be a matter of both. It could be a matter of just some Switches have some sort of defect that's warping them. We don't know at this stage. We just know that there's a bit of an issue there. What's most interesting about this one though, is that it might actually be part of the reason for our next one here, which is cracking around some of the weaker spots on the plastic on the back of the Switch. Now again, I didn't even mention this, but this is actually one that I've seen myself. I didn't expect to have it. I just saw all these people talking about it. I didn't even bother checking my Switch until I was getting ready for this video, and I thought, you know what, I better check my Switch to see what this crack actually is like and if I even have one, which I was just like, you know what, I'm really careful with my Switch. I'm totally not going to have one of these cracks. I don't live, or actually, Australia, I live in a hot area, but my Switch has never really got that hot, so I didn't really think this would have happened to me. But it has. One of my Switch actually has a crack, which I'll show you here. So as you can probably just see here, my Switch has a slight crack going between the screw line on the top of the console, and this is one of the more common ones, as well as between the vents, which some people have been very kind to me and shared some pictures over Twitter with me for me to share with you guys, so I'll try to post some of them up here. It was really kind of interesting the way this unfolded, because it started off as just a few rare cases of people going, my Switch is cracking. I've found a crack on my Switch, because it's actually really hard to see them in the first place. And then those people were like, maybe check your Switch to see if it has it. And so people were checking their Switch, and then they were going, hold on, mine's cracked as well. And then they were sharing, and it kind of shared and shared and shared, and all of a sudden, in the matter of a couple of days, this Switch cracking thing turned into, not many people know about it or even realized, to all these people are just like, my Switch is cracking, I don't know what's going on. So it's quite a widespread issue, and check your Switch, have a look at the cracks, and you might be surprised whether you have them or not. Anyway guys, that's about all the negativity that I can deal with for one day, so feel free to jump in the comments yourself, have a good, as I said, have a good safe whinge about your console. We're all here because we love our Switch, but let's face it, we have problems with our consoles, and the Switch is one of the more delicate Nintendo consoles that they've ever made, so there's bound to be problems that are just going to arise from it. And you know what, if you don't have any problems with your Switch, feel free to jump in the comment sections and boast about not having any problems with your Switch. So, I mean, there's some of you out there. Anyway guys, thank you for watching the video. Remember, like button, subscribe button, you do you, and for everything Nintendo, stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.